Hey guys, it's Dave here from CLOVERinc, and today we're going to be taking a look at Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, or in the PC case, should I be calling it Metal Gear Solid 5, The Perfect Port, given the absolute incredible job that the guys over at Konami have done with it. Now, I want to give you guys just like a little bit of a taste of what the game is like, but obviously, you know, it being a Kojima game, the story is incredibly important to it. So this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. Spoiler immediately, you do get a bright orange oil platform. Don't worry though, you can make it pink if that's really what you want. But obviously we start off here with our little base of operations, which is obviously currently under construction. Obviously as the game goes on, this could be expanded, and there's a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a thing going on with microtransactions in terms of what territories you expand into. But again, they can be completely ignored. The game can still be played 100% on its own. So, we'll start off now. I'm just going to take a quick little shower, if you don't mind. So while Snake is cleaning himself up, this is the 11th game of the Metal Gear series, should I say. But it's technically only the 10th kind of official Metal Gear title. The 11th being Metal Gear Solid Rising, or Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, obviously with Raiden. And let's just get off this platform and let's get into Afghanistan. Let's just get into the free environment, and then we'll talk a little bit about the game. So, they may be talking about my puppy DD. DD is usually around, DD the diamond dog, but he is not here today. He is still a puppy at this stage in the game, but he does grow into a full buddy. And you can take your buddy into battle, and you can even train him. And he'll be able to take down guards and infiltrate outposts and things like that, or even attract them, which you can then bait them and then take them down yourself. So the buddy system is really expanded on. By really expanded on, I mean it's a totally new system. And this is its first iteration in the Metal Gear, and unfortunately it is the last Metal Gear. So you can call in helicopters anywhere that you are on the map. There are different landing zones. Certain ones become available depending on what anti-air you've taken down. But obviously for this case there is no enemy anti-air, so we can just call one in, hop on board, and let's get ourselves deployed. Hissing given. Obviously you recruit staff members through the same Fulton device that you've seen in the previous games. And once you get the staff back at your base, then what you can do is put those staff to work at developing all sorts of different things. So you can develop different weapons, upgrades on those weapons, camouflages, upgrade the base itself, even so far as later in the game being able to affect the battlefield in terms of artillery fire or sandstorms, which is pretty impressive, and especially even just given for a game in general, not just for a Metal Gear game. This game completely breaks previous Metal Gears in terms of the fact, by breaks, I mean it is entirely open world, whereas the games previously have been incredibly linear. So this was kind of Kojima going out with a bang, because as we know, this is the last Kojima's at least last Metal Gear game. You know, just in case you didn't know. So here is our iDroid interface, which of course you might have seen from Ground Zeroes. We're just going to go into missions and pop us into side ops, because we don't want to be... Yep. Because we don't want any kind of spoilers for story missions. So we're going to just deploy up a little bit up higher. We can select our equipment. So again, really different from what we've seen in previous Metal Gears. We can get our equipment, our buddy, our vehicle, which we haven't unlocked at this stage in the game, but you can get jeeps, etc. later on. Or even select a character for different side ops. Perhaps you might pick a character who's particularly good at recognizing local fauna, and she can then find, say, the medicinal herbs that you're looking for. So we're not going to change ourselves anything, we're just going to get straight in there as soon as possible. This game has a fully realized day-night cycle, along with weather, in terms of sandstorms, which is fantastic. And they really changed the pace of the game. I mean, guard shifts will change depending what time of day it is. A sandstorm will limit not only your visibility, but their visibility. And it'll also effectively make you deaf. So it can really change the way you're going to infiltrate a base depending on what the weather is like. Now, as I said before, it is the 10th game in the series, but it's not the 10th game in terms of its chronology, but rather instead it is the 5th game chronologically. So, taking place just after obviously Ground Zeroes, but before that, Peace Walker. So we've got Snake Eater, which is telling the story of course, Snake, Naked Snake, who, spoiler alert, you know, for a game that's 10 years old, kills the boss and then becomes Big Boss. So taking place after the 2 PSP titles, we now have the Phantom Pain, where we're no longer Naked Snake, now we are Venomous Snake. and we are reclaiming the base that we lost at the end of Ground Zeroes. But again, not going into any kind of story. Kojima's work in stories is always fantastic. But this has been 7 years since Metal Gear Solid 4, and this obviously isn't the end of the story, or the series itself that occurred in Metal Gear Solid 4, which occurs in the future of Solid Snake. This is rather filling in the blanks and some of the details within. So straight off the bat, we can see just how good this game absolutely looks. It's running completely maxed out at the minute on a GTX 780 Ti, and you can just see how good this game looks. Long distance textures, obviously not the best, but you've got to give it some slack. There's no kind of stutter when zooming in. So we're going to hop on D-Horse, we're going to open up our map, and we're going to set a waypoint for down here. We're going to get on rampaging. And we're not going to hang off the side of the horse. So an interesting change in pace, though, for this Metal Gear, we just completely creamed that sheep, is the fact that, and another one, I'm going to, get pulled up on that later probably, is the Kiefer Sutherland has replaced the voice acting from David Hayter, who's the series veteran. Of course, this was kind of a bit controversial at the time, and personally myself, I don't think it's a change for the better. I was much kind of preferential to Hayter's kind of grisly voice. But, I mean, Kiefer Sutherland does step in, and he still does a really good job. It's just not the Snake that we all know and love. So right off the bat, we're going to see that this is a completely open situation. This is just a side mission. We're going in to retrieve a blueprint, so this isn't, in any way kind of overly complicated. But we can completely survey this base from a distance and see where things are. Now, we're a little bit far out here, so we're not actually seeing all that much. So we're going to get ourselves a bit closer. But as I mentioned before, it's a completely different pace from the previous games. The fact that it is entirely open world leaves this entirely up to you. And the game transitions from a stealth game into an action game incredibly smoothly. So if your infiltration doesn't go too well and you get spotted, no worries. The game transitions perfectly into an incredibly competent third-person shooter. So since we're infiltrating at night, their vision is going to be a little bit less. And we are commencing.
The security forces must know something about the targets. After you grab or hold up an enemy, try interrogating.
This is a side mission, so we're just going to scoot around over here. Trying to keep our ears out. But again, so you can play the game how you want. Now, I much prefer to play my Metal Gears very much in the traditional sense of the word. And we've done quite a terrible job at scouting out here. Using our monocular, because of course we only have one eye, we can mark our targets, which just lets us know where enemies are. I'm going to mark this guy over here that we saw, who is hopefully still around this corner. He is not around the corner. He is. Cool. Alright, and then we're going to take advantage of this game. It's got a lot more verticality than previous games. We're going to climb on up here. Ooh, okay. So they got a truck, which is... Let's see where this is going. I'm just gonna let it go on its way, so we're not creating any much of a fuss. And we're gonna leave that to that. Now we're going to take out this guy here. And grab him. Now what we could do is we could Fulton recovery system him. Take him out of here, bring him back to base, and see what he knows, see what he's good at, and maybe bring him into our forces. But we are not going to do that this very second. We're actually going to take him a little bit out of the action. And here should do the job nicely. Boop. I'm going to check him down. And then just gonna lightly wake him up. Good here. Yeah, grab him. Now, I'm gonna interrogate him, see what he knows.
Talk.
Cool. Now we know where he is. So he's just gonna go back to sleep now. And this time we are gonna Fulton him out of here. So we're just gonna delicately place him somewhere nice and open. And attach our recovery system to him. we're going to infiltrate into this building to get this, we're going to need some kind of camouflage. So what Metal Gear game would it be without our good old-fashioned cardboard box? Dun, 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 dun. So now we can infiltrate this base 100% sneaky. Don't even know what's coming. Credit has to be given though definitely to the Fox engine. The guys over at Konami have really made an incredible PC port of the game. From my understanding, the PS4, Xbox One versions are equally fantastic, running at a completely locked 60 frames per second. And Total Biscuit pointed out quite well in his port report, you almost have to really try to get this game to not want to run at 60 frames per second. It's just kind of made for that. Getting upstairs with the box is not as easy, so we can be really sneaky here. Now, of course, we can grab some resources here, and these basically go towards when you're upgrading your base. We're gonna get out of the box. I heard someone, but I do not know where they are. But yes, these resources go into upgrading your base, so you'll have. Thank you.
Arrived at your destination.
Like 50s, and then you'll use your GMP as well, and combine the two of them to create and expand your different platforms. Now we're just gonna actually open up the iDroid and check out the map. That's a mortar, and he said if I wanted the blueprint, it would be there.
Marker placed.
Over by this guy. Cool. So we're going to take advantage of this verticality again. And we're actually going to showcase some of the... We're just going to be on back to sleep again. It's fine. It's fine. Now, some of the verticality which is in the game, again, and some of the forward planning you can do. So, here we have a satellite dish, and what we can do is we can take this out, and we can even take out... There's other ones dotted around the map, and different generators and anti-air emplacements. And we can take them out, which means that in a future mission, say, we could just go all in, balls out, and attack a complex, and they'll call for support or air support, and they won't be able to get anything through because we'll, of course, taken everything out. Now, in this situation, we got one target over there, and we got another antenna. So we might just drop down, since we know where he is and know where it is. And we're just going to climb on up here. Ba, ba, ba. There is no ladder. That has put a flaw in my plan. Or is there a ladder and I just can't find it? Okay, we're not going to climb up there. Never mind. It was never meant to be. Which actually just brings me to one kind of small complaint I do with the game. In terms of climbing. With the game being so much more open and being able to plan different events, you can obviously get on top of these kind of ridges that are around us here and get an eye in and mark your targets and work out where things are. But sometimes in the more rocky sections, Snake really struggles with climbing up certain things. Which can lead to kind of frustrating moments of Snake just running into a wall and sliding over and over again. Which is no fun. I thought that water pipe was a person. We have made that mistake.
You have arrived at your destination.
Cool. Now we can grab this blueprint, and the side up is completed. Grab some more metals,
You gotta extract him.
Not a base.
and then we can exfil out of the area. So before we go, we can just very quickly take a look at some of the kind of customization options in the game. So obviously you have your buddy support, which you can request the deployment of your buddy, and there's also support helicopters. So if you want to get airstrikes or things like that, you can call those in, along with a pickup to take you back onto Mother Base. So this is the Afghan region, and these are some of the kind of landing zones you can get to. So for example, if I were to attack these barracks, I can take out their anti-air support, which I did earlier, and hence now I've got a landing zone right in the middle of the barracks, which means if I ever need to pick up anyone there, it makes the game much easier. From Mother Base, we can develop a lot of additional things. We can customize our buddy and their equipment. We can customize the helicopter you ride in. Maybe you want it in bright pink with a speaker blaring music, you know? We can do that too. or we can develop our weapons and upgrades. So here there are an absolute ton, depending on what level your teams are, how much GMP you have, and all of these are just unlocked in the game. Revolvers, just so many different kinds of weapons you can bring in. Different shotguns, sniper rifles, heavy machine guns, rocket launchers, personal shield, or even upgrades to Snake's prosthetic arm, including its mobility, or even a rocket arm. Oh yeah. One feature that is still kind of in the game, which not as detailed as it used to be, is Metal Gear Solid 3's health system. Now, gone is the menus whereby you're repairing individual limbs, but rather if Snake does badly injure his leg, he won't be able to run, or if he badly injures his arm, he won't be able to aim. You have to take yourself out of combat and find somewhere quiet where you can address that concern. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and be sure to check in with us in the coming days for even more Metal Gear Solid footage, and be sure to check out our Facebook, Twitter, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe if you liked it. Don't subscribe, dislike it, and send us horrible comments if you didn't like it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I just broke my box.